So good day everyone, I will be your first reporter for the Japanese mythology, which is Amaterasu Omikami. So let's do start. So our report outline for this report will be the Japanese mythology, Shintoism, who is Amaterasu, the myth of Amaterasu, and why did Amaterasu in the cave, and how did Amaterasu influence the Japanese way of life. So, Japanese mythology. Let's define first what is Japanese mythology. It is a system of beliefs that embraces Shinto and Buddhist traditions as well as agriculture-based folk religion. So primarily, their folklore are based to their way of means of living, which is the agricultural, which as we all know that agriculture is their way or mainstream of living there in Japan way back then. So primarily, that is the means of accessing their beliefs and embracing it. So the mainstream of Japanese myths, as generally recognized today, are based on the Kojiki, Nihon Shoki, and some complementary books. So, what is Kojiki? Kojiki, or also known as Record of Ancient Matters, is the oldest recognized book of myths. So, legends and history of Japan. The Nihon Shoki refers to Chronicles of Japan. So, the Nihon Shoki and Kojiki accounts of Amaterasu's origin differ. So, Nihon Shoki states that she was the offspring of Izanagi and Izanami, the first Shinto gods, while the Kojiki explained that she was born from Izanagi's left eye when he was ritually washed. So, Shintoism. What is Shintoism? Well, Shintoism is the indigenous spirituality of Japan and the people of Japan. It is the set of practices to be carried out diligently to establish a connection between present-day Japan and its ancient past. So, as we all know, Japan, they really conserve their culture and their past. As we all know that Japan is already boom. It is recognized as first world country for their economic stat. And even though that they have their economy boom, though they preserve their culture and they nourish and do respect with their do respect and embrace their cultures as of now. So, who is Amaterasu? So, Amaterasu is the son of goddess of Japan. According to Shinto religion, her full name is Amaterasu Omikami, which means Great Spirit illuminating the heavens, wherein a beautiful and compassionate goddess who ruled both the sun and heavenly fields of rice that fed the Japanese people. So Amaterasu is the god of fertility. They serve Amaterasu as their god, that the one that gives them their crops, the rice fields, and the way of means that the Japanese people are getting their source of means when it comes to their living. She is the offspring of Izanagi and Izanami, the supreme Japanese deity who created the world and the gods. So Amaterasu has both offspring, or their mother and father, which is as Izanagi and Izanami, while another story states that she came from Izanagi's left eye. That is quite another interesting story, wherein they say that Amaterasu came from the left eye of Izanagi. Well, on the other hand, she and her brothers, the storm god Susanoo and the moon god Tsukuyomi, share the power of governing the universe. Amaterasu, as the sun goddess, was responsible for illuminating the world and for ensuring the fertility of the rice fields. So that's it, guys. They really serve Amaterasu as their god of fertility. So, the myth of Amaterasu. So, here explains the three myths of Amaterasu. So, first is the separation between the sun and the moon. Second is the origin of food on the earth. And the third is the beginning of agriculture and silkworm industry. So let's do start. So the separation of sun and moon. So Amaterasu was reigning in the heavens when she sent her brother and husband, the god of the moon, down to the reed plains to serve the goddess of food. When the goddess of food saw him, the goddess spit boiled rice, fish, and fur-coated animals from her mouth from him to it. This made the moon god insulted. So the moon god drew his sword and killed the goddess of food. He returned to Amaterasu and told her for his deed. This made Amaterasu very angry and said, "You are the evil god. Take yourself from my presence and see to it that we do not meet face to face again." So the sun and the moon live apart from one another, separated by day and night. Oh, that's quite a cute story. Oh. So from the second one, the origin of food, agriculture, and silkworm industry of the earth on the earth. So the goddess of food was indeed dead after the moon god killed her. The ox and the horse had issued forth from her hand, and grain had grown from her head, and silkworms had come forth from her eyebrows, and cereals had emerged from her eyes, and then rice had grown from her stomach, and wheat and beans had grown from her abdomen. Oh, that's quite so tragic, knowing that there are cereals, and rice grows into your body. That is quite so disgusting. But yeah, that's how goddess of the food end up on what he have done. Then Amaterasu was delighted with the variety of foods, so she extracted the seeds from the various grains and planted them in the dry fields. She took the rice seed and planted them in the water fields. She placed the silkworms in her mouth and collected silken thread from them. Thus the goddess initiated the art of raising silkworm. It is the beginning of the silkworm industry. So let's continue on the third myth, which is, why did Amaterasu hide in the cave? So Susanoo no Mikoto, Amaterasu's rude, violent, and evil brother, decided to visit his shining sister, which is Amaterasu. So Susanoo Mikoto became possessed by jealous anger when he destroyed and ruined everything: the rice, the fields, the channels, and throws and pipes, while Amaterasu remained calm and tolerant. So when Amaterasu was weaving cloth for the god in her sacred weaving hall, her evil brother silently removed the roof tiles and threw a colt of heaven into the room. Then Amaterasu was so startled then that she pricked herself with her shuttle. So Amaterasu, due to shock from what his brother have done, he startled and had picked herself with the needle. So all of the gods gathered along the banks of the peaceful river of heaven, and they planned how to make Amaterasu get out of the cave. Then they made prayers and offering for the goddess danced and chanted by the door. Then Amaterasu's curiosity overcome her anger and she opened the door a crack to look outside. The gods and the people rejoice in the return of the sun's brilliant rays. They took Amaterasu by the hand and had her among them and convinced her to join them. So that ends my report about Amaterasu Omikami. So thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day ahead and God bless. Thank you.